Finger 11 just played shows in both Toronto and Ottawa back to back. They're recording a live greatest hits album slash DVD. As soon as I found out, I bought tickets to the Ottawa show. So I was there, and I guess I have a few questions about that show. Is there anything different about drum teching for a concert that you know is going to be filmed and recorded? Does that change anything? More pressure?
No, for me personally, I and that's why they brought me on. So I don't usually tour with Finger 11. I kind of only do their bigger shows and their studio stuff. Kind of like when they meet them, they really, because obviously the more and more people you bring on the road, the more money it costs, right? And Steve Mo, their drummer, who's been a friend for many years now. I got to know Steve from actually drum teching in the studio with bands that he's producing. They brought me to Figure 11 and stuff. And he basically reached out like a few weeks before those shows and was like, hey, we want the drums to they're being recorded. We need them to sound as best as possible. Like, are you available to do these 2 shows? And I was. And it wasn't any added pressure to me because my goal every day, no matter what band I'm with, is to make the drums sound as good as possible, especially in this day and age when everyone has one of these, right? All just one person on the internet being like, oh, those drums sounded like crap. It's like, that's embarrassing, man. When you're like, you want the drums to sound as best as possible every day. So yeah, it wasn't any different. And I didn't feel any added pressure because you do it enough and you do it so much and you just want it to be the best. You want people to, again, going back to the whole, like, never got the compliment of like someone being like, you're a good drummer. Never got that. Always got the, dude, your drums sound sick. I'm going to stick with it,
So I wouldn't be doing my job if you shared a story about Steve, the drummer from Finger 11, and I didn't have a quote from him. So here's a quote. Here's a quote from Steve, and his is pretty funny. I like how it ends. We'll see if he gets a little jab in there for you.
Probably him asking what's for lunch.
Maybe. So this is what Steve says. He says, Jordan is the man. I can't say enough about the guy. He's been able to create a name for himself personally as well with YC Drum Company, and I'm really happy for him. He's one of the hardest working guys I've seen in the industry, which is why everyone wants him on their project. On top of that, he's a great guy and awesome to be around, whether on stage or in the studio. Dude is a total pro. If you ask him what's the most important question of the day in the studio, he'll tell you. So I don't know what that means, but you'll have to tell us. And then he says, there's really only one thing that matters most to us. Lastly, I'd love to say there aren't any drawbacks, but there is one. He's a Habs fan with two angry emojis. Go Leafs, go! ! Steve from Finger 11. So what's the question of the day? What is this?
What's for lunch?
There you go. Okay.
Every
you had already said that, so you're both on the same page.
Every time I work with Steve Mo and walk in the studio, Steve, how's the family? What's for lunch? That's 2 questions. How's the family and what's for lunch? And that's only because when you're making music in a recording studio, who cares? Who cares about the music? What's for lunch? That's the number 1 question, the most important question.
What do you think makes Finger 11 so great? I mean, they've been big since, let's see, I don't know, Tip was probably like 98. So I remember I got into the Grayest of Blue Skies, the album right here. I was only 15 years old. So you're 9 years younger than, so they were big before you even knew what was going on.
Yeah.
What makes them so great? How have they had this much longevity? They've transcended styles and genres. I mean, you were at those 2 shows. What great live show, great, doing the greatest hits where every song they played was a total banger. The energy, they're amazing. What is it about Finger 11 that makes them a great band?
I think I became a fan from working from working shows with them. That's because they're a little before my time, just slightly before my time. To me, it feels like they don't take themselves too seriously. You know what I mean? Like you can, I don't know. When I watch them perform, which I mean, for the most part, I'm watching Steve play drums, but it looks like they genuinely, they're not on stage being like, we're better than you. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean. Like they don't take themselves too seriously. They're not like, they're not acting like rock stars. They're not being like, yeah, you're gonna love what we're doing. You know, it's like no, it's like they're like this is music that we've written, the five of us, and we believe in, and I think it translates to the way they perform and the way the crowd reacts. And I think the tunes are just well thought out. I mean, I'm not a songwriter, so my opinion is my opinion. I don't know, take it for what it is, but. I think the tunes are really well written and it's a bunch of dudes who are just laid back and being like, yeah, we like playing music. We're going to show you what we, what we wrote. And that's that.
So there was someone else working that show with you in Ottawa. And I have a quick picture I want to share here. So let me know if you can see this on my screen. Can you see this?
Hey, Dano.
So we have you there. We have my friend Frank who came out to the show, and then we have Dano. So I have a quote here from Dano.
This is like the most. I will say this. This is like the most. You caught us at like the sweatiest time. Like look at my hair. This is literally like at the end of loadout. We've been busting our butts for whatever 45 minutes to an hour, and you just caught us right at t-shirts outside in the middle of winter.
Hey, dude, if you are looking like not disheveled, we know you didn't do your job. This is big like in the trenches. The man just did a job well done. So this is a quote from Dan Preston. He says, I've only worked with Jordan a few times, but it's not hard to tell he holds a lot of passion and a great skill set. He's a fab hang, quick-witted and hilarious. Looking forward to working with him more. So that's from Dan Preston. So that's the man himself.
You know what? Most people don't call me witty. So I'm gonna take that compliment. I'm gonna sleep good tonight.
That might be the best. The best compliment.
That might be the best one. Thanks, Dano.
Witty.
That fucking beauty. That guy. And again, talk about all these people. It's like there's another guy there that just like is in the trenches, grinds, works his butt off, scores. Hard. Good. It's good people, man. Good people know good people. That's what's up.